Hey, I'm Mindy with Mindy's Life and Adventures. I am Zach's wife and I'm also the travel agent of the two of us. Zach, give us the intro for your channel.
Zach Going Fire.
Yeah.
And this is where I talk about everything related to finance and us retiring early and traveling the world.
Yep. So, as a team, we are moving forward with this journey and we will start our nomadic travel soon. So, Zach has decided to do a bunch of research on a bunch of different apps to help us get the best deals. So, sometimes it'll be through me and my resources, and then sometimes we have to find these good deals on our own through other resources. So, Zach, how many apps in total did you look at?
I looked at more than 20 different apps and websites for travel, and I really drilled down into the top 20.
That's a lot of apps. That's a lot of work, which is why a lot of you just call me so I can do the work for you, which I'm always happy to help, by the way. So, what are some of the pros and cons that you found in general across the 20 apps? Like just some of the things you were seeing.
So I was seeing that a lot of times I could find very cheap prices, and those cheap prices would lead you to websites that, let's just call them questionable. You would get from the main site where it was directing you, it would show you one price, and you would get to the booking screen, it would be a very different price. Also, problems like when you went to actually book it, it would not be available.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, that's not fun at all.
No, that's horrible. So, what were some of your like highlights before we start getting into the specific apps? Like, what are some of the like little shiny stars that you noticed?
I noticed that there are a few new websites that use AI to track your booking for hotels or flights and can rebook on your behalf when prices drop. So that's a promising thing that going forward I might look to use.
That's really interesting. Maybe I should worry about my job.
Probably not. It still takes a lot of research to figure out which hotel you might want to stay at because, for example, I like to stay at hotels with hot tubs, and some of the search engines allow you to click that it has a hot tub. And when you actually look at the property itself, it's not a real hot tub, it's just a big bathtub.
That would be disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, great.
I wanted to jump in here and say that a lot of the hotel shopping that we do in the coming future, we will first actually be looking at using our points that we earn for our credit cards and the different hotel stays that we do. It's a little bit of a different process if we were shopping for staying at the hotels and paying for those with points. And I wanted to point out that one of the websites we use, Gondola.ai, they actually will tell you when you're looking at the hotel whether it's a better value to pay with cash or pay with points. For example, at this Hilton in Da Nang, Vietnam, it's currently showing on Gondola for $76 a night, and it says that's excellent, but it says that you can book it for just 15,000 points. It shows that that's 0.51 cents per point. It shows that as being the best value. And then on some of the hotels, it will show you if the cash value is best. It will mark which one is better for you to do.
Okay, so here we are looking at the spreadsheet. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
On the left-hand side here, we have the websites or apps that I looked at, and we'll get into why I've got them color-coded in a little bit here. Some of the websites only offer hotels and some only offer flights, but for the most part, they offer both. And I tried to keep some notes for each website. And then I looked at specific hotel stays, and I even had to put the address because I noticed that some of the websites would list a hotel, but it wouldn't actually be the right hotel when you went there. So I had to make sure
Sneaky.
that we were looking at the same address for each hotel, because sometimes a hotel chain might buy out another hotel and they'll leave up the old pictures or the old name of the hotel on it. And then I also looked at additional discounts from like Rakuten, or if you got additional money back through Airbnb from some of these websites. And I looked at the total that it would be after you got the cash back. And so that's the order that they're in here, is with the total after the cash back. And as you can see, there's quite a wide range here from 115 to to 160 for this stay in Sanford.
That is a pretty big difference. Why do you think that is?
I think some of those 115 would come with some sketchy websites. You wouldn't get good customer service with that kind of thing. And the higher prices might just be where they've built in where they're keeping the commission on their behalf. So I think the sweet spot is some of the ones in the middle.
Okay. Good to know. So let's start talking about some of these apps that looks like you have 20 here that you researched, and I will let you pick a color code and talk about it and give us some more detail about what we're looking at.
I would always start my search with either Kayak or Google. The ones in yellow here are just your traditional aggregators. I also highlighted trip.com because I did find that it is one of the better traditional websites at finding good prices and good deals. And it also allowed me to build trips other than just looking at a hotel. It would help me build a journey. But I would start with those three in yellow. And then it's always good to go directly to the website that offers the hotel. For example, if you're staying at a Holiday Inn, you would want to check IHG's website directly. That's a good base point so that you know if anything is higher than the direct website, then why would you go with that instead of direct with the website?
Right, that doesn't make sense.
Especially if you want status like we do with the IHG. We get status after a certain number of stays. They can know our information when booking so that they know our preferences.
It's good. That's helpful. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go to a unrelated non-base website. So like I see you have IHG, so like Holiday Inn Express, like if I was going to pay more than the base price right on the website, that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. So tell us about a different color that you have over here over these apps.
The ones that I have in the fuchsia color, these are the two travel portals that we use. That we have the Capital One Travel portal and the Built Travel portal. So we might use those because we have those credit cards, and if we can get close to as good of a deal as booking directly, it might be good to book with them because they will track the prices and rebook it for you if the prices drop. And I have trust in Capital One and Built to deal with their customer service over dealing with some of the ones from Google.
Okay. What about I think we've got one or two other colors here. We got this light purpley color.
These light purpley colors here, I've got 4 of those. Those are the newer ones that use AI and or like online travel agents that are basically searching for and negotiating better deals on your behalf. And they will allow you to book as if it was direct with IHG and give you additional points on top of it and then rebook if the prices drop. So in a lot of cases, I was able to get better prices with some of those. I like that it still gives you the status.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to build up status or you've earned status, you want to be able to capitalize on that perk that you get. All right. And then what about these other sad little friends with no color at all?
So I would not go back to using those because I noticed that if they have a good deal, then they're going to surface when you search with Kayak or Google. Those come up with it.
Wow, I see some familiar ones on there. Booking.com, Orbitz. You really see all those prices in those other ones that you're already using?
Yeah, and like Expedia, I didn't even include that on this list because it's going to come up when you search through Google or Kayak.
Okay, cool.
Just saves you a step.
So I see you've got all this great research here and you've got some notes. I see anything you want to touch on with the notes that you have?
So with Booking Direct with IHG, when you go to do that, especially if you have the IHG credit card, it's going to offer you at checkout if you want to buy additional points.
Ooh, is that a good deal?
It can be, but usually not. When you actually do the calculations, you have to realize that the IHG points often go on sale where you get a 100% bonus, and it brings the price per point down to just half a cent. So when you go to check out, do the calculation on that. If you're buying the points for more than half a cent per point, then no, it's not a good deal.
All right, good to know.
The WayAway app, notice that it does not really offer hotels. It's more of a flights only thing.
Okay.
It's also only on the app, not a website. And it was extremely questionable with where everything I looked with that. I would not use WayAway at all again. But I still wanted to check on some of the pricing that I found with it, and it wasn't even all that competitive.
Well, as a travel agent, I would always highly recommend that anybody either book using a reputable website directly through the hotels or directly through the airlines. This way, if you have problems, you're dealing directly with the main source instead of a third party, a middleman. That can get sketchy at best, especially if your middleman is not great. With travel agents, we are professionals. We have reps that we talk to directly that can help us out and help our clients out of bad situations. So, if you're not using a good travel agent, make sure you're just booking direct because that gives you the most safeguards.
And it's also good if you know your preferences, whether you prefer to travel on a shoestring budget or if you want something more bougie, or if you're like us and you're just middle of the road. We are comfortable in staying at a Holiday Inn.
Mm-hmm.
We've stayed in some very low end hotels, and we don't prefer that. If you are okay with traveling at the low end hotels, then you might be more okay with using one of the more questionable websites because they can direct you to those hotels. And, when you get there, you might be saving some money by staying there, but it might not be where you really want to stay.
Yeah, I kind of like our middle of the road approach. And, sometimes we will save a few dollars and go a little closer to the lower end. And sometimes we splurge and go a little up to the upper side of that, just depending upon the created spirit experience that we're trying to accomplish. So it looks like you did a few dates here. I'm guessing that you looked at all of these the same day because prices change daily. Yay, travel.
Even intraday.
Oh, nice. Nice. So tell me about some of the findings you've got here. It looks like the first one, stay August. It looks like stay at Augustine for April 4th.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the research you found here.
With St. Augustine, the lowest price that I found was going through Google at $254. And it directed me to super.com. That site, often the price would be different from Google to when you get to the checkout.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about the fees and taxes, which many websites will add on fees and taxes, but they have it in a small print. I'm talking about the actual base fare of the room would be different.
Ooh, sneaky.
And then I also noticed that some of the cheaper websites would say that breakfast was not included. So if you're staying at a hotel that gives breakfast to most of the people that stay in their rooms, with the cheaper websites, they will exclude that a lot of times.
Okay, but that could be a good thing if you don't eat breakfast and you're looking to save a little bit of money, but just something to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like we do stay in a lot of Holiday Inn Express, and so we like the breakfast that they provide. I would be sad if I was thinking I was getting it and then didn't get it. So definitely one good thing to be aware of. All right, what else for this St. Augustine stay? I see a lot of red. Tell me about the red blocks.
Those were higher prices than even booking directly. The IHG booking directly, $279, and then you see these ones that are $300 and more. The highest was $351 with Hotel Tonight. I see no reason why you would ever want to choose one of those websites to book when you could book direct at $279.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge markup from the direct site. So with some of these that you looked at, even the ones that give good prices, are they also allowing you to earn your status, use your rewards?
On the Gondola,
Mm-hmm.
you earn your status and your rewards.
Okay, so that's good.
With these other ones, for this particular one, no, you would not earn your status or your rewards.
Okay, so that's something good to know too. So if you are trying to build those status and rewards, you would need to book direct, right? Or with the Gondola is the one that allows you to. Okay, so more things to think about. Like if you are using, trying to build up that status and you're using a point system, it wouldn't even make sense to go through those unless the savings was more than your points.
So with this stay at St. Augustine, looking at these prices, I would probably go with the trip.com. It's only $3 more than the cheapest one through Google. And trip.com is a more reputable website. You probably get better customer service. But if you wanted to get your points and status, then I would just go directly with IHG, 279. It's a little bit more than the trip.com, but you get your status.
Okay, good to know. So I see you did a couple of other trips. It looks like it's kind of the same story here. Outside of, I do have a question. You've got a little yellow one here for Rove with a question mark. What's up with that?
That looks like a really good price, right?
Right.
When I tried to book that through Rove, though, it kept failing to load. So I tried to close the website and the browser and tried to go back into it again, and I could never get it to come up. So I just left it at a question with that quote of 133, but I don't think you would actually be able to get that booked.
Ooh, interesting. All right, and then let's look at this next column here. Is that
Rakuten?
Rakuten? Okay.
That is a browser extension website, a shopping portal that allows you to earn additional cash back or points back through their thing that you can use for cash back. Where it's just the numbers, that's from Rakuten.
Okay.
The 10x, that's from Capital One.
Okay.
So that's Capital One miles back.
Okay.
Which you could value at least 1 cent per point.
Okay.
With Rove, you're earning 10x back on Rove miles, which is another form of travel that you could use to transfer to hotel partners or airlines. You could value that at about 1 cent per point.
Okay. Which sounds good if you can get the app to work.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
With Hotel Tonight, is that?
Yeah, Hotel Tonight.
Yeah, with that you get credit for Airbnb on certain stays. Like with this stay, we could get $14 Airbnb credit by booking that.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a strange partnership between Hotel Tonight and Airbnb. I don't know what they get by helping each other out like that, but you can see that even with that $14 off, it's still a much higher price at $146. So I wouldn't go with that.
Yeah, that's weird.
The Gondola, you get 3% back in Gondola dollars for every time you book with them.
Okay.
And that's in addition to your IHG points and status.
Okay. That's nice.
That's one that I would go with, even though it's a little higher price than the lowest price ones. And then I highlighted the trip.com if I wanted to go with the traditional one, and it's right in the middle.
Okay. All right, cool. So then I see next to that, we've got our with cash back. So I'm guessing you did the math to what the price would be or shake out to be after you get your cash back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously the winners are still kind of the winners and the losers are still kind of the losers. Okay, cool. Anything else that you want to tell us about this spreadsheet or the research that you did?
Yeah, so I have a column here for the apps, and I didn't fill that out completely because I noticed a pattern here. You should check both on your computer, on the website, as well as on the app on your phone, because sometimes you will find a lower price on one or the other.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Even if you're logged in on both. And then you can also check by logging out and going into a private browser so that it doesn't track and it doesn't know who you are. It might show a different price thinking that you're someone else.
See, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And you know, as a travel agent, I am not immune to those kinds of price fluctuations. It happens to us during our research for, you know, our clients as well. It's quite frustrating, that instability in price from moment to moment, day to day, hour to hour. It's insane.
So even though I would love to tell you just to search on one website or maybe one or two apps, if you really want the best deal, you do have to check multiple websites and multiple apps, and it's going to take like a minimum of an hour to search just for one hotel stay. Or you could use a travel agent and spend less than an hour telling her where you want to stay and what you're looking for, and she can do the work for you.
That's right, 100%. I'm happy to do that research and that work, and then tell you my findings. So that is one of the perks of a travel agent. You just get to direct us, and we do all the research. So, anything else? Any other takeaways? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, so in using the search for the travel portals with Capital One and Built, I was honestly surprised that Capital One had really good deals and Built did not.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they're newer to the game, and so I probably would not use Built to book except for when we want to use our credits that they give us.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the price directly from a La Quinta Inn in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina that I was looking at. So this price directly from the website is a price that you can trust. It's a good way to get a base price, and then we're going to go and compare what Google and Kayak show for this booking. Okay, so we're going to compare what we saw direct with booking this La Quinta in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on Google. It shows it at $49. So if we go into that visit site, $49, and it shows with tax and fees $55. When you go in to book it, it shows it at $55 and then taxes and fees added on to that, bringing the total to $62. Now let's look and see how that compares to Kayak. With Kayak, you can change the setting to show stay total, including taxes and fees. And so it's going to show this same hotel here at $62. Click on View Deal, 55, and it shows it here at 62 with tax and fees. So I think if I had to choose between the two, I would choose Kayak over Google, but I still don't trust this super.com. When you go to book it, it shows this member only price with 10% cash back. Don't fall for this. What it's going to do to get that member price in the small print, it's going to sign you up for a recurring charge. It doesn't show this anywhere until you read into the small print right here, $15 a month. So unless you read that, unless you want to pay that $15 a month, don't click on that member price. So I was going to show the same hotel listing on Built Travel Portal, unfortunately does not list this hotel, and because it is a newer travel portal, I have found that there are several hotels that I was not able to find. This is the price on Capital One's website. $60 a night after taxes and fees for the same room in Myrtle Beach. The two benefits with booking with Capital One is that A, you're going to get the 10% back on the credit card with Capital One Venture X. So this would really be about $54 a night. And then you can also use their price match guarantee within 24 hours if you find the price listed on a publicly available website. In other words, one that you don't need to log into for any sort of membership, and you can show a lower total for the same booking with the same types of refundable or non-refundable policies, then they will match the price for you. This is the price that Axel shows for that same booking. They're getting it at just $55 a night total, and you can reserve now and then you pay by September 20th. It's actually a pretty good deal.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up and send you on your way. If you need a travel agent, reach out to me at Mindy at where'swalterstravel.com.
And thank you for watching. This has been Zach and Mindy with Zach Going Fire. And until next time, let's continue to drive towards financial freedom.
Bye.